The topic that everybody's been talking about is Pat McAfee joining ESPN, but outside of the fact that he's joining ESPN and they're joining forces, is did he sell out? He is full out running with it, sell out. You know how they talk and spell from the Pittsburgh, way of speaking. But the question on everybody's mind is, did he sell out? Everybody jumped on top of this. Everybody's discussed this. Everybody has their opinion, and everybody thinks it's fact, just like we all do. So we're going to talk about, did he really sell out? I wanted to sit back and think about it for a couple of days. You have to sit back and look at what exactly Pat McAfee is saying, because he's going to have the announcement talk. Then there's going to be repercussions. There's going to be other people saying things. And then on top of that, he's going to have to respond to that. So you have to really listen to what he is saying and really think about everything that's going on with this deal. So Pat McAfee this week, he kept for a couple of weeks now, kept saying there's something going on. There's something going on. We'll let you know. We'll let you know. He had his baby on top of that. So they kept saying, we'll let you know. We'll let you know. We'll let you know. And they came out with a great video talking about how the show is going to change and go into these block things and everything. And then said, nope, we're not changing a thing. We are joining ESPN and Disney. We are combining with them. The show is going to be on ESPN, ESPN Plus. It's going to be on their ESPN YouTube channel. And he said the creativeness of the show is not going to change. They're going to do exactly how the show looks. Is going to look that way moving forward, except the cursing. He was like, we can't say the F word as much as we want. We have to be careful with that because of the platform it's going to be on. It's going to be on TV. It's going to be on YouTube. And on YouTube, you can say all those words and there's no repercussions. But now the show is going to be out there. It's going to be on way more TVs. It's going to be on TVs and bars. It's going to be on TVs, airports, anywhere that's going to put on ESPN. It's going to be on after First Take, I believe. So they're still going to have that time slot, I believe, from Central Time 11 to 2 or 12 to 3 over in the Indiana time on the East time. That was the big announcement. No money was disclosed. People are rumored that it's, I think, $10 million a year or something like that. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a decent amount of money. But this was the big announcement that he made. And there was a lot of people saying things, a lot of mixed reviews, and the fans are not happy. So let's talk about the sellout part. People really think Pat McAfee is a sellout. He sold out. He sold himself to the devil. Let's talk about all the reasons why maybe people think this way, because to me, there's a sellout and then there's a sellout. And this is what I mean. There's a sellout if you are publicly, if Pat McAfee, now he has publicly talked about ESPN and publicly talked about how they do things there, how they talk, but ultimately he did it out of respect because he talked about respectfulness of the brand, what they've built, how powerful they are because they're the sports. They were sports for the longest time until the internet stuff started to come out. If Pat McAfee sat there and just bashed certain people with ESPN, talked about their beliefs, talked about what they're saying, and this, and this, and maybe he has. It's hard to go back and look at everything he has said from a 3-hour show for many years. And if he publicly was doing these things, then said, hey, well, they're giving me this money now, I'm going to go. And part of being that sellout is we are going to have a block schedule. Like we're going to have the pod, then we're going to have Pat McAfee show, then we're going to have Hammer Down, and it's all going to be on ESPN. There might be shows. Like if they changed all of that stuff, you could call him a sellout, and the sellout would be a negative aspect, tarnish to his name. Then there's a sellout where you have to think of it from a Pat McAfee standpoint. And this is what I think is going through his mind right now. Right now, it's him. It's all on him. He's got lawyers. I'm sure he has accountants. He has people like that. He has his friends that work on the show that produce it. They film it. They edit it, do everything else. Ultimately, everything comes from him. He's building his brand. And he has said this before where he doesn't know if he wants to do all of that part forever. It's on YouTube. His show, his Pat McAfee show is on YouTube. But he even said before, when he starts having kids and everything he's doing the show for 3 hours or so a day, but he's got to be there longer. Talk, they don't really have scripts, but getting people on the show. Then he's got to travel to do things. If he wants to do the show where he wants it to, he wants to take it on the road. Then he's doing WWE wrestling and announcing. He started to do a college game day, and he started to say, I don't know if I want to be gone all the time when I have a child or kids. And ultimately, everything is on him. So in his mind, when ESPN is coming to him and saying, we'll put you on our network, which no offense, it's big, maybe bigger than Pat McAfee's reach a little bit just on YouTube. We see the way it's going. We'll give you full control of how you're going to do it. You have our resources that's going to be put on TVs. It's going to be put on our YouTube channel. We can make clips. We can do these things, and everything's going to stay the same. He is thinking that takes so much pressure off of me and the people that work for me. They have different people that could come in and do things. His friends and the people that work for him still get paid. It's just less pressure off him and can focus more on the friends and the family aspect. I believe that's what he's thinking. And he's thinking, can I change the entire landscape of sports? Which I think he already has. But he's thinking, if I can get this show on ESPN and show ESPN that this type of show can be useful. So now maybe other people that work at ESPN start to act this way and talk this way about sports. That is what he's thinking. He's thinking, okay, I've changed the sport. He knows that he's changed. I mean, look what we're doing now. He's changed for people like you and me. You start your podcast, start your own thing. He really helped get that going. Barstool did, obviously, and then Pat McAfee took it to a different type of level. Barstool has its own level. Pat McAfee has a level, but just did it differently. That is what his mind is thinking. So you have the sellout part, which is the negative aspect of it. Then you have the sellout part where he's selling out the ability to maybe take his brand and what he was doing to the next level. Because I always maybe envisioned, okay, he has the Pat McAfee show, he has Hammered Down, and he has the pod, where they have those different things under the Pat McAfee. I thought maybe one day if it got big enough, he could turn it into a bar stool type of thing, or maybe he has programs. Now, in his show, they talk about everything, they keep it going. But I thought maybe later on down the road, it could turn into a network of things. They have those podcasts, then it could start turning into other shows that fall under the Pat McAfee network. They could hire somebody to deal with that because they had their big FanDuel deal for $120 million that he has walked away from to get this ESPN one. But I thought that could have been cool where he has his Pat McAfee show on YouTube and everything is just there. But then he start having branch off of different shows. His focus is on a lot of more of NFL, but they talk about everything. They talk about NBA stuff. They talk about hockey stuff. They interview people. Keep that the same. Then you start branching off and having different networks. Okay, here's our hockey network. Here's our, full on, NBA stuff. Here's our full on college football stuff. Like you could have those guys and he could have branched out and done that with a Barstool type of mindset or an ESPN type of mindset. And I think that's where people thought he could go. People and his fans really were upset because I think they felt like they were following somebody that was just like them. The way that show was operated, it's just like sitting there talking to your buddies. If I got three of my buddies on here right now, we talk sports, it could look very similar to the Pat McAfee show. Maybe it's not much as an entertainment because they're different people, but that's what people thought they were doing. They were watching a show and it's on YouTube that's free. They're not paying a cable bill. They're not paying any streaming service. It's on YouTube. And they're watching something that they can relate to. They can relate to the things that Pat McAfee is saying. They're relating to things that his buddies are saying. They can relate to things they're all saying. And it was a show where you didn't have to be politically correct. It's a show that I think can relate to all forms of people. No political anything. And it was a show where the people that they interviewed could be themselves, where they're on ESPN and saying, I have to watch what I say. They can't curse. They can't, say certain things. And on Pat McAfee's show, they could say whatever they wanted under the realms of where their job is or their agent, anything like that. And that's what people liked about it. And the way ESPN has gone, the way Fox Sports has gone, this show was different. People talk about ESPN, they're going woke. They all sound the same. They flip flop on a lot of things they say. It's the same thing over and over. And I don't watch ESPN. Very rarely do I watch ESPN. If I watch ESPN, there might be a college football game on there. Maybe there's a baseball game I turn on. I don't watch First Take anymore. That was my show. I don't watch it no more. I don't watch any of those type of shows because I watch it for sports entertainment, and everything has become politics. Everything has become flip flop. Sometimes on ESPN First Take, it becomes almost like you're watching Fox News or CNN. And that's not what I want. I want to watch sports. I want to hear about sports. The debate thing is cool. Having different guests on is cool. It is ESPN at the end of the day, but people describe it as woke. People describe it as you watch certain guys on there, and then ESPN and Disney tell them what to say. They have an agenda. And I think people were tired of it because of the landscape we're in. Pat McAfee was a guy that they could go to and watch and say, okay, he's not woke. He's not a pundit. He's not anything like that. And now they feel like they are betrayed because now they have to watch him with this ESPN stuff, and they feel a little betrayed because they followed him. They feel that even though he says that he has full control, when is Disney and ESPN going to put their foot down and say, well, now we can change it? I hope that doesn't happen. But that's the way people feel right now. And they're strong to their beliefs. And they're like, I'm not going to watch ESPN on YouTube. I'm not going to watch ESPN on TV, so I can't watch the Pat McAfee show anymore, because I find it weird that he didn't say it was going to be on ESPN, YouTube, and the Pat McAfee show YouTube. It might be. Maybe he said that. Maybe it's hinted that way. Maybe it's obvious it's going to be on both parts. I have no clue. Maybe it gets uploaded there later on. Maybe the live stream ESPN. I don't know, but I did find that weird because it feels like he's sacrificing that hard work into that YouTube channel. And I think that's where people feel betrayed, that they just felt like they didn't have to watch ESPN anymore. I did. I don't feel betrayed personally about Pat McAfee, but I liked watching him. I liked watching the different takes they had. I liked feeling that you could relate to it. The ESPN people, you can't anymore. I used to love Stephen A. Smith. He's different now. JJ Redick all of a sudden has turned different. Kendrick Perkins is one of the worst talkers and sports people I've ever seen. All that stuff on Fox News or Fox Sports, same thing. The Skip, I used to love watching Skip Bayless on ESPN, then his late ESPN days, and then to the Fox Sports stuff. I can't do it. Shannon Sharp, I can't do it. Nick Wright's one of the worst individual sports guys in the history of ever. And so it's all the same. It's all talking points of what ESPN and them want to do. They grip on everything. And so that's the fear with the Pat McAfee show is you sign something that says you have full control. This isn't going to happen until the fall, but be prepared for them to try to change everything. And then if your show is not on your YouTube channel, it's on their ESPN stuff. Do you get to keep all the content? How's this going to look? But we have to understand both sides of this. And he's going to try it. And if it doesn't work, maybe there's a way he knows he can get out of it so he can go back to doing what he was doing. I'm not sure. We also don't know what's personally happened in all those people's lives to why he was doing this. We talked about earlier. But that is why people are calling him a sellout, and they feel betrayed because now they don't want to watch ESPN. And no matter how much they like Pat McAfee, they are not going to go back and watch ESPN. I know I don't. I may not watch Pat McAfee show very much. Maybe his YouTube channel is going to be made for clips, and I'll watch the clips there. But I personally may not do it, and I'm not doing it out of, I'm going to go boycott ESPN because of any type of woke thing, anything. It's just boring. It's just the same thing over and over. They all have the same talking points. So I just personally don't. It's hard to find that stuff. So I've been turning to the Pat McAfee show. I'm turning into different podcasts that talk about sports. Barstool is a great one to go to. Like those type of things are growing because people are tired of, ESPN and Fox Sports and everything else. And so that's where this is going. And he's using it for the outlet, but I don't know, but that's why people feel betrayed. So it's up to you. Do you feel like he is a sellout? Is it a good sellout, a bad sellout, anything like that? You can't really knock him until we see it done and tried and see if it works. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, hopefully he can go back to exactly what he was doing, making money, going back to that. But it is to give up that deal with FanDuel is pretty big. And hopefully he'll make the same type of money there, but that's a pretty big deal. So you decide, is Pat McAfee a sellout or not? That's up to you. Thanks for watching and or listening. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow at Coach_Steve72 on Twitter. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Check out all the other videos. Check out all the other affiliates in the description below, of course. We're going to start pumping out some podcast stuff as sports coaching winds down. So be prepared for that. Thank you guys again for watching and or listening. This is Coach Steve, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you.